It's going to be a tough one tonight, people. We went through a real gut-wrenching experience last night. It's been tough on me, my staff, it's been damn tough on my kids. I'm not a good loser. I think it was Woody Hayes or Bo Schembecker said, show me a good loser and I'll show you a loser. We don't like to think ourselves as losers. We preach it, we talk about it, and it's just, I don't know how to describe the feelings that we had last night in the locker room. So if I'm not ball of fire tonight, I hope you understand, I don't mean to detract from what's supposed to be going on here. Celebration of the end of the year, the efforts put forth by these 35 young men. But I think if you were in our shoes, I think you'd possibly understand the way we feel. Without further ado, I'd like to get started. There's always a lot of thank yous to go around. I think without a doubt, we are operating probably the best program in the area, probably a large area. If you look around you tonight, the decorations, I seriously doubt if you could find a banquet that could compete with this. I'd like to thank the Warren County School District, who for 8 years now has entrusted me with this program here at Eisenhower. I don't think people understand just how important football is to me. It's been something I wanted to do since I put the uniform on in 7th grade. It's the one thing that I find tremendous enjoyment in, even though it tears me apart when things happen as they did last night. I'd like to thank Mr. Neese, Mrs. Hernan, for their support. I think it's admirable that we can draw the principal, the assistant principal, the AD, many of our teachers out of this school into the nights of, like it was at Cambridge Springs, and last night at Harbor Creek, rooting for our football team. Just a fantastic feeling. And I'm sure these people, these little guys here sitting in front, really respect those that support them. I'd like to thank Mr. Adams, who's busted butt to have the best athletics here. This county school at Eisenhower. I know he puts in long hours and probably gets little thanks for it, but he's getting a lot of thanks from us. I'd like to thank cheerleaders and their advisor, Mrs. Gene Olson, puts in a lot of time and hours, just as any coach does. The Eisenhower marching band, Mr. Harris Lancel, goes without saying, he has no equal when he does his band. If people find it strange that we get along so well, I always respect somebody who is as perfect as he is, and I can't take anything away from him. And the people are very fortunate to have somebody like that in a Class A high school tucked in the hills of Pennsylvania. I'd like to thank all the parents. Without parents, of course, we don't have our young men here. More than that, it's very tough on parents to allow their young man to strap on this equipment, go out there, and possibly get hit from all different angles. There's always the real possibility of severe injury. But I'm very thankful that they are understanding, that they know what this game means to these people, and give them the chance to participate. I'd like to thank Mrs. Sujovich, her 2nd grade class at Russell Elementary. Thank you very much for the program that she's running. probably along the line here someplace. I would think the district would see to it that in some way, shape, or form this lady would get recognized for her teaching talents. I'd like to thank the wives of all the coaches, including my own. It is not easy. Thank you, Christopher. I needed that. It's not easy being a coach's wife. It's a lot of hours away. Sometimes you're a real bastard when you come home and take it out on people that you shouldn't, particularly people you love. And yet they're very understanding. You cannot be a successful coach without a supporting wife. And I think we all have those. I'd like to thank our film taker, our video taker, Barton Hagg. If she would come forward, I have a little gift for you, please. Barbie's doing an excellent job for us, and each year gets better. If she would just check the video before she takes over, it's good work. Well, there's actually two of them this year, but I'm going to reward one because the other was just an apprentice, and the apprentices don't get rewarded, so John... I also have a great deal of thanks and a small token of our appreciation to two of my assistants. One of them was here before, decided to go back to Sheffield, found out that maybe grass was greener up here. And fortunately for us, he come back to us, and I don't know if this guy realized how much respect I have for him and how much I love him. So maybe this little envelope with what's in it will give him an idea. Mr. Wrinkle? Assistant probably runs 60 to 90 miles an hour a night getting here from all parts of the country. The one thing you can count on is he's going to make some part of practice. And he's certainly a big asset to us in that he has the ability to fit in without being told what to do. You don't know how important that is to somebody to just have somebody do it. You don't have to constantly tell them what to do, and that's Rod Wilkins. All right. We had a young man last year who suffered an injury in football. This year he couldn't participate, but I assume he's going to be out next year, and I look for him to be very, very good. So I made a deal with him to be my manager. They're hard to come by anymore, so we got a little deal going here. So Hobart Carr would come up. I have a little something to do. And last, before we get to the awards, my two very loyal, very faithful, and very good assistants, Jim Olson, my head assistant, and John Martin, my second assistant. So with their help here, we'll get on with the show. And I feel a little better now. Maybe we can put things up. We're going to start out with what we call our Ironman Award. We started this, I think, 4 years ago. And all it is people who make practice all the time, and we allow one excuse. That's for anything, just one. And each year we've done this, it's increased. This is the third year. The first year was 16, second year was 17, the third year now there's 22 out of 35 people made all but one practice. Now some of those made every practice, but since we give them one. You know, that's pretty astounding. You don't know how valuable it is to have people in practice. You ever try to run a practice when your left tackle is missing, you're starting left tackle, and it screws everything up. So hats off to these young people. And I may be a little screwed up here, but I'll call them up by groups. So hold your applause till I get done with the group. The first year, I may be wrong on a couple of these because I couldn't find my records from when they were sophomores. So if I am, guys tell me. First year Ironman 1990. These are people that are getting the award for the first year is Kurt Scott, Mark Whitty, Tom Brown, Eric Hagberg, Matt Alexander, Mark Peterson, Bob Mandeville, and Jim Parr. This is Bob Mandeville's second year. He missed last year. That's why I don't have a record. Who's else? Peterson, Mark Peterson, second year. So with Mark Peterson and Bob Mandeville having 2 years of no missed practice, or one, we run into our second year people. This is their second year of no missed practices. Rob Cafarrell, Jason Hagg, Joe Glotz, Jamie McHenry, Dan Randall, Steve Whitty, Rich Trimmer, Jay Carmichael, Jeff Safko, Jared Lindell, Brian Morrison, and Gary Kuiper. Why are you down? Yeah, I make mistakes. We have 2 individuals who have been out for 3 years, and for 3 years have missed 1 or less practices. That's a heck of an accomplishment. Todd Gorley and Steve Briggs. Record, gentlemen. Excellent. Our co-captains this year, which I should have started off with, but I don't have the patches that I'm going to give you anyway, so when I tell you who they are, which you already know anyway, would you please stand up and give them a round of applause? Steve Briggs and Jay Carmichael. They will be getting a little patch that says co-captain instead of center, as soon as I find out where I place it. Okay, into our letterman. Each year I give you a general idea how we letter people. And basically it's very simple. If you're a first year man, which sophomores usually are, we always get first year juniors, first year seniors. If you're a first year man, you have to make a significant contribution to the varsity team to letter. The second year, if you're out your second year, you're going to letter irregardless. So that's quite simple. It's impossible for us to keep track of all the people we turn in and out and how many quarters they we get. But then nonetheless, those who don't letter are every bit as important to this team as those that are 3-year letters. You can't have a 12-man club. 35 is not nearly enough. They have to feel their importance. And if they're sophomores, this is where you start. And a lot of athletes have come out late in life as a junior and a senior and have missed a super opportunity to get this experience. If you have kids out there that think they can come out as a junior and senior, they better be real talented. They think they're going to become instant starters. So I take my hats off to these people who Now receive this letter, but nonetheless, every bit as valuable as the 3-year letterman. Eugene Bevel, Keith Wise, Matt Dinky, Tom Brown, Jim Tower, Kurt Scott, all sophomores. If you come up, gentlemen, we've got some things. First-year letterman. They will receive the letter E and a football pin put on it. Okay? Excuse me a second. I'm losing my place here. We have 2 first-year juniors that are non-lettermen also. Those would be John Silvas and Jake Stoddard. Will receive the letter E and a football pin. We have 1 sophomore who lettered this year. That would be Mark Williams. Mark played corner for us, some linebacker. We worked him on quite a few special teams. He progressed as the year went on and eventually is going to develop into a real fine player. Juniors receiving their first letter. Kerry Kuiper, Matt Alexander, Colby Welker, Dan Mirando, Joe Glotz, and Jason Hack. Kerry Kuiper started to split end and corner for us. Matt Alexander was on special teams, kick receiving and kickoff. Colby Welker was on special teams. Danny Miranda was on special teams. Joe Glotz was on our kick receiving team, our extra point team. And Jason Hagg was on special teams. In the last couple games, we started getting him in as a regular sub. Seniors receiving their first letter. Brian Morrison, Chris Irvin, and Rich Trimmer. Brian Morrison, this is his first year out. Brian moved here from Alaska a couple years ago, didn't make it out last year. No doubt in my mind, had this man been here for 3 years, he would have been a very, very, very excellent football player. As it was, his ignorance at times got him in trouble, but his speed and his tenacity and aggressiveness certainly made up for it. Chris Irvin was in his first year also, and then he had played football. Chris was a very hard worker, tried to pick things up as quickly as possible. As I spoke about it before, you need the experience. Rich Trimmer is in his second year. Rich has come a long way since the first day he put uniform on, and if Rich could have 1 more year, I think he possibly could work himself into a regular spot. Congratulations, guys. Our second-year lettermen, they get the big jacket this year. They also get a bar, and eventually you will get a patch with a helmet on it, with your number on it. We are switching over to the all-school jackets this year. Therefore, they come basically stripped. You have to add things as you want them, depending on the sport. This is an excellent idea that we all subscribe to. Saves a lot of money. The club's trying to raise money for 15 different jackets in the school. So this is the jacket that we're all going to be completely switched over within about 2 years. Juniors. Now, some of these three of these guys, two of these juniors won't be getting a jacket. They'll be getting a windbreaker because they received their jacket during wrestling. Our juniors, Chris Black, Eric Hagberg, Roy Silvis, Steve Whitty, and Rob DeFerro. Okay, seniors receiving their jacket and bar and patch. When it comes are Steve Briggs, Todd Gorley, Jimmy McHenry, Jim Williams, Jeff Safko, Chris Sweet, Pat Hamlin, Mark Peterson, and Barry Lindell. Tim Williams. This is his third year. He paid his dues as a sophomore and junior. This was his year to be. Unfortunately for him, in a freak accident, somebody merely falling on him after he had made a tackle, he broke his ankle, was out for the rest of the year. We feel real sorry for this young man and just wish him the best down the road for the rest of his senior year. Receive a bar and a 3-year patch. Doesn't seem like much for a 3-year letterman, but I think they'll probably be rewarded a little later on. Maybe in heaven, guys. What do you think? Our seniors, 3-year letterman, Bob Mandeville, Jim Parr, and Johnny Garner. Also, all 35 members of our team will eventually receive a badge which will say Western Division Allegheny Mountain League. Check. You will also receive a badge that says District 10 runner-up. Okay. We had 6 people this year that were all-stars selected by the coaches in the Western Division of the Allegheny Mountain League. Now, plaques will be coming for these individuals also. So as I call their name, would you please come up and be recognized? The league buys these plaques. They're very nice. They're the whole team. Whatever paraphernalia goes on, they're really nice plaques. Jake Carmichael, defensive linebacker. Bob Mandeville, offensive end. Jeff Safko, running back. Steve Whitty, running back. defensive tackle. And Eric Hagberg, offensive tackle. Good job, guys. Excellent. When you start winning some games, you start beating people that haven't been beat for a while, and you start dominating, you get outside attention. And our outside attention comes from the OAN Times-Herald, which more or less monitors the Big 30 area. This Big 30 area, I've been over this quite a few times, but for those of you who don't know, the Big 30 area encompasses 34 schools. About half are in Pennsylvania and half are in New York. So just figuring on the average of 35 kids on the team, multiply it by 34, come out over 1,000 someplace. We're talking about over 1,000 football players from schools as large as Olean, Bradford, Warren, Salamanca, and down in our area, which would cover St. Mary's, like I said, Warren and Bradford. We talked about a lot of kids. We were very fortunate to be recognized, because we don't get the biggest recognition in the world, to have 3 Big 30 Olean Times-Herald All-Stars. And this is quite an accomplishment. On defense, we had Jay Carmichael. Also on defense, we had Eric Hagberg. On offense, as a junior, as Eric is, Steve Whitty. Monday night, we'll be taking these 3 young men to a banquet at the St. Bonaventure Country Club, where they will be formally recognized. Mothers, try to put ties on them if you could. They will also there receive a certificate. This is the second time we've had somebody selected to this team. The last time was a young man named Lance Traps. So from then till now, it's what we have in the Big 30, and we are so happy. If you look at the table up here, you'll see there's a lot of hardware left. Yeah. Well, there's 2 reasons for that. We could have cut it down to the usual 6 that we give. But when you win a lot of games, there's more than 6 All-Stars on your team, or very important people, or MVPs, any way you look at it. And I don't think it's fair to cut it down so small. The second reason is, when I was in high school, we gave out 1 trophy, most valuable football player, 1 trophy. As a sophomore and junior, I was fortunate to play under Toby Shea and a lot of good athletes. We were undefeated 2 years in a row. As a senior, all the studs left. We got a new coach. We finished 3-5. I don't know how we managed that, but and I was convinced I was the most valuable football player. I still think I am, but I'm about ready to get out of my seat to take that award from my best friend George Nelson got. And I was not a happy camper. As a matter of fact, I was crushed. The only other time I ever remember it being so crushed was when the wife wrote me a Dear John letter in college. No, I'm serious about that. Yeah, it crushed me. It totally devastated me for a week. And I don't want to be accused of doing that to some other young man here when we only give out 5 when we obviously have much more talent now. So that's the reason for all the hard work. So I have 3 special awards I want to give. They're not MVP awards. They're special recognition trophies. They go to 3 young men by the name of Todd Gorley, Mark Peterson, and Pat Appleton. These people, these three young men standing before you, are all three-year players. Two of them have been there consistently all the time, giving 100%. Pat got a break this year and was going to be our starting center until he did get a break. He had a compound fracture of his little finger, which sidelined him for a considerable period of time, and in the meantime, a young man named Roy Silvas took over for him. And we could never see where Roy didn't do the job well enough to put Pat back in, and I feel real sorry for him, for Pat. These are the people that make a program. Everybody's going to have one or two stars. But you need the people who will constantly step in and do the job, who will be there all the time, who will give you 100%, who will play any place you want them to. All you got to do is ask. These are very important people. Our titles on the following are MVPs. We'll start with a Special Team Award. Most valuable special team person is Jim Parr. I'm sure everybody thought I possibly could say somebody else. That's because he is so good at his job, we have not paid attention to him for 3 years. He's our long snapper on punts, extra points. We don't bother with him. I cannot recall a bad one. I'm sure there must have been one or two. But I can't recall a bad one. And I'm telling you what, you think it's easy to snap a ball with two people that's going to throw you on your butt the second it leaves your hand and knock the crap out of you. You just try it sometime. This guy is good. Category is the most valuable receiver. We can pretty well pick this out by the stats we keep, the excellent stats Mr. Olson keeps. So without further ado, I announce Bob Mandeville. A lot has been expected of Bobby, and a lot more is going to be expected of him out of basketball. I think it's putting too much pressure on the young man myself. And also, on the other hand, I think he's held up to it pretty well, and he's certainly done everything we've ever asked of him. And we just are really happy that we had the opportunity to work with him. Most offensive line. Here we get into sticky situations. So Mr. Martin behind me here probably spends 5 to 6 hours a week on the field trying to get awards for the defensive linemen, some recognition. Very tough job to do, very time consuming. But consistently all week we had to go with two people, not one, two, Jared Lindell, Steve Briggs. I don't think you could find two more intelligent football sense-wise individuals, two more caring individuals, and two more individuals that can give you any more than these two people have given us. The defensive line, as far as numbers, gets even more complicated. We keep stats. The defensive stats are quite obvious. Unless you consider some big plays that have been made, unless you consider the fact once teams find out they can't run around your end, they're not going to run, so consequently you don't show up in the stats. We had our front four was pretty real solid this year. And we had to give the award to three of them, most valuable defensive line. Chris Black, Eric Hagberg, and Bob Vanderbilt. Anyway, when they get named as an all-star in another team and they don't get my trophy here, you know. That doesn't look good. Just kidding, guys. You deserved it. I love you. Most valuable offensive back. Once again, we're going to have to go with two. One is obvious. One is not obvious, but without the other. One without the other would not get what the one got. So those are Steve Whitty and Jeff Satko. Steve, of course, will return with us next year. Jeff, in my estimation, probably had the best year of anybody on the team. From 1 year, he didn't play as a sophomore. It took him last year to get appointed. This year, what an attitude. What an amazing attitude. I just can't say enough about Jeff Satko. Most valuable player, defensive back. Points, Steve Whitty, Rob Farrell. I don't think it requires too much intelligence to realize that we missed Robbie last night. Robbie is very good at coming up supporting the run. I'm not criticizing those that were stuck in there to replace him, but the fact is Rob is one of our top defensive point getters, and you just don't take out people like Rob Farrell out of the lineup without a vacuum or a hole being created. Fortunately for Rob, it's not his last football game. He'll be back with us next year. Our most valuable linebackers, if you went straight on points, hands down, Jay Carmichael walks away with the top point getter on our whole defensive team. You know, what do you want me to say about Jay? The guy's an animal on the field. And the other linebacker we had to pick, as I say, Jay's credentials are obvious. Jared Lindell's credentials are not so obvious. The reason Jared's up here is because of the one thing that we teach consistently on defense is discipline, and there's nobody on our defense more disciplined than Jared Lindell. And I think that came to light in the Johnsonburg game when he picked off the pass and ran it back and had a heart attack near midfield. And the Cambridge Springs game is when he stayed where he's supposed to, picked the pass off, eventually set us up in field position for the winning field goal. Excellent pair of linebackers. Thank you. Stuck in an award here because every once in a while I get a kid that impresses me with his maturity and his not only his football talents but the way he handles himself. And I think we had an individual this year that through his efforts, through his maturity, played a key role in keeping a bunch of us together. And I got to reward him because I'm so impressed, and that's Steve Briggs. stars on our offensive line, Steve is like a quarterback. Constantly telling people what to do, where to go, what to play with. What an asset. Our Booster Award, as you well know, about 4 or 5 years ago, the Boosters decided they wanted to give an award. It was always going to be in honor of something or in memory of someone. This year, it is in honor of the 2 biggest boosters in the land, Tom and Dot Knapp. Goes without saying the efforts that these two have put into making our football program, as far as the booster organization goes, the best around. Now this award is for the individual who plays as close to his ability as possible, shows initiative, shows heart, shows desire, has a lot of pride in what he does, tries with all his might to get the job done. And I don't think I could have found another kid on our team that suits those credentials better than Jamie McKinney. There's nobody with a bigger heart than this young man. Nobody that plays hard or tries harder. Lots of times he's been criticized. He's never gave up. He's a battler all the way. And someday you're going to see a successful young person through here. He's going to be old, too. He's going to be old. You're going to get old, you know that, Jamie, but you'll still be successful. Our last 3, our team most valuable player. Once again, no way could we cut it down to 1. There's just too many people that have contributed so much. We went with Steve Whitty, Jake Carmichael, Jeff Sapko. Last but not least, there's a little person that I'd like to recognize who's sometimes got in the wrong places at the wrong times. But when he did something, he did it 100%. That was carry the ball in and out. I'd like to recognize Darren Hack. All right. I think that pretty well wraps up one portion of the program. I don't think there's a whole lot left to say. We finished with a good year. There's no doubt we wish to have been one score better. But maybe that's coming next year. We have a good nucleus coming back. These guys, if they fit into the puzzle, as we tried to do this year, there's no doubt in my mind we can go just as far. It's my privilege to work with these young men. It's my privilege being here this year. Let's hope things continue on the up. Thank you.
thank all you supporters out there. You know, we couldn't have done it without you. You know, down at Johnsburg, we're down there, final seconds. You know, you guys all got up on for us. That was just, you know, you don't know what it does to our hearts. You know, to hear all you guys stomping out there and cheering, it's just great. I think we can't bring it back. So this year, we got our 5 coaches with us. I want you guys to stand up for a second, please. 5 varsity coaches. Quite a group. They're all individuals, so we really didn't know what to get them this year, so what we did was got them all gift certificates to those gals, so they can all get together. We had a good time on us. You know, we really appreciate it, you know, we love you a lot. Thanks.
Okay, that was great. I enjoyed that. That was good. You guys are super. Dr. Snyder. Dr. Ronald Snyder would like to say something.
Very little I can say to add to anything that has been said tonight, but I was up in preseason watching you gentlemen, and I went back to central office and I said, watch Eisenhower this year. They're going to be winners, because I could tell the kind of youngsters that you were. And I really appreciate the thrills you gave me this year. I saw many of your games, and I'll tell you, you are excellent, and you're the kind of models that we need in Warren County School District. Conrad, I thank you very much for your efforts. Coaches, I thank you for your efforts. There are a lot of second guessers. And you know, what happened last night is going to happen throughout life. We all want to win all the time. And I tell you, you learned a great lesson in life. Now you pick yourself up and you go on. You do the kinds of things that are necessary to be successes, and you all will be. Thank you.
One more thing. Number 1, there's plenty of cake if you want it. Number 2, there's pictures over on the walls. You're more than welcome to take them, players. Try to not destroy any of them. Be careful. Don't go mad animals over them, okay? Number 3, there's balloons here. Take them home with you. Number 4, anyone that would like to stay and help clean up?